Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you that once again Magnus Carlsen has done something that warrants a YouTube video. Now I know what you're thinking. Gotham, you would make a video of Magnus Carlsen breathing. You would make a video of this man walking from his house to the local metro station. Do they have metros in Norway? I don't know. I think they all fly on spaceships. My friends, that's not the point, even though you are correct. Yesterday, Magnus Carlsen decided to log into chess.com and defeat a very strong grandmaster from Croatia by the name of Levich. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he defeated him nearly 20 times in a row. Magnus won 18-1. And the reason that Magnus decided to do this is because he is chasing the #1 rank on chess.com in Blitz, which is right now Hikaru, 3,334. And Magnus is trying to get that. And yesterday he did by getting to 3,300. He didn't break it, he got very close. And so in today's video, I'm going to show you what it's like to beat a 3,000 rated Grandmaster 18-1, because you know what? You enjoy this, and I enjoy this, and I don't know what we're all complaining about. You know? How many of you enjoy watching a sport? Wouldn't you be sad the day that your favorite athletes retire? Right? Whether it's Djokovic, or it's Tyson Fury, or it's somebody in baseball, or it's somebody in football, or the other football, the real football, the one you play with your feet, not the one that you throw. You know, any of those. We gotta respect the legends while they're here. And listen, I am sorry to Leon Levich. He's a good dude. Has courses out there. But he's getting featured in this video because, like, I mean, this is like ridiculous. And not only Magnus was not even playing real openings, bro. He was playing this. What even is this? This doesn't even have a name. This doesn't even have a name. If you open a chess.com analysis board and you play d4 c6, the Queen's Gambit in b5, he straight up plays an opening that doesn't have a name. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe in some of you will find this. This is like a drunk Karl Khan. This is like a Karl Kant can't. All right? That was very dangerous to being a bad word. You know, I was talking about Immanuel Kant, the philosopher, economist. I don't know. What is he? What even is this? Come on, man. What is he doing? And his opponent takes, and Magnus just, you know, develops like it's normal. And why is he able to play this garbage? And look at this, now he gets the bishop. And this pawn can't even be taken because of the counterattack on the center. And then he just gets the bishop, he just has the 2 bishops. The pawn is still hanging, for God's sake. And Leon's not taking it, because if you take the pawn on b5, yes, for a moment you attack the bishop, but then look at this. Now your bishop is hanging. You said, Levy, what's the big deal? I just played knight c3. Now you can't castle. You're never going to castle now. And black is going to go bishop, you know, like c5 castle. I mean, he invents openings. It's like unbelievable how he makes these plays. And then now the pawn's an asset. I mean, it was a weakness. Now it's an asset. Now it goes to b4. And he gets an imbalanced structure. His king moves. It doesn't even matter. Look at it. He gets checked. His king slides over as if the whole thing was planned, because it was. Now he's a pawn up. And he plays e5 and just has incredibly coordinated pieces, looks for the queen trade to get into the endgame, loses a pawn, but his opponent is just taking too much time. He's got 39 seconds. It doesn't matter if his opponent is going to end up in a decent position. His opponent's got no time. Magnus just a minute up in a blitz game, and slowly but surely he does manage to win it, even though the first game was actually, Leon did a great job. He just has 7 seconds and, you know, ended up losing on time and in the game. Now, Magnus Magnus won 11 games in a row to start this thing. Okay, he won 11, which means he did what we call adopt. He adopted his opponent, that's just a term. I think it was invented by the OGs of chess streaming, the chess bras. So when you beat somebody 10 times, you basically become their adopted parent. So that's. I feel like in 2 years you're gonna like people will get canceled for saying this. I don't know. I just feel like because they're gonna be like, what is the foster system a joke to you? Like are orphans a joke? Like no, it's just a friendly. I don't know. Anyway, that's what it's called. It's called adopting, like adopting a pet. Now I'm not saying people are pets. Okay. Oh my God. Speech, just impossible. Now, Magnus plays my opening. I didn't invent this opening, but this is the Papa Tukulad Gambit. This is actually a recommendation of mine in the E4 course, which I have my OG course. It's a gambit by white. You play into the French defense, you lose this pawn, pawn takes E4, and then instead of playing Queen E2, which just tries to win the move, Magnus plays G4. G4 is not the best move, but it doesn't matter because he's Magnus Carlsen. He decides what's the best move and what's not the best move. He gets the pawn back, and look at this roaring attack. And now Magnus is gonna go here, and he's just gonna mate his opponent. Like, Leon doesn't have a choice. Like, consent is very, very, very important, but in chess, you just go for checkmate. Like, that's not what you do in chess. In IRL, absolutely 100%. Unequivocally, is that the right word? Important life lesson for everybody. But in chess, it's a competition. You are trying to win, and checkmate is a very good thing. And yeah, this is not looking healthy. This is not. He's going for Queen G7, and yeah, I mean, knight F3. It's bad. He's got all the pieces pointed at Leon's position, and to his credit, Leon's actually defending pretty well. He's kicking out the queen and knight F4, but I mean, it really just is a matter of time, and now D4, I mean, everybody in Magnus's position is ready to go. He also could have played knight F6 check right away, takes, and then, just slowly gotten there. He can't rush, because queen F6, but he would have slowly made his way there, and he plays knight F6, and the game's just over. He just avoids, that, and knight G5, and yeah, I mean, a trifecta of threats, which cannot be parried. Magnus plays bishop takes F7, bishop takes, and checkmates his young opponent in 22 moves. And that is the danger of when you castle into this absolute monstrosity of an attack. Look at this. I mean, Leon was just like, all right, I'm going to castle because those are the good principles of the game. But bishop D3, and I mean, just a monster game. Now, at some point, Magnus started getting bored, so against the E4, he started playing this. I mean, come on. Oh my god, you think that's bad? He played knight C7! He's playing the De Bruyker defense. He's playing a Karl Khan, but he's not even playing D5. He's not even playing D5. And if you think that this is... wait till you see what's next. I mean, normally, it's knight C7, and then you play D5. But now if you play D5, white actually has a very nice support there. So instead of that, Magnus just plays G6. He just basically says, you know what, my knight is good here. Now Leon's doing the principal thing. He's developing all of his pieces. No. Oh, no. No way. Magnus plays knight H6. And if queen D2 to target the knight, you're going to go knight G4, so you don't want to do that. So to stop this, Leon plays this, which makes a lot of sense. And now this man Magnus plays F6. No. Oh my god, bro. He did the same thing on both sides. He moved his knight out to the edge, moved the flank pawn, and put the knight behind the pawn. He has made 8 moves, and now he just castles. He has 3 pawns on the 6th rank, and basically what Magnus is doing is this. He's just fighting without fighting. Like, he's just standing like this, and, like, you gotta hit him. You gotta punch him, right? So Leon plays here, and now Magnus plays D6. I mean, he's just waiting for his opponent to do something, and while the opponent doesn't do something, now Magnus plays F5. So from this position, suddenly he just jabbed you, like right in the face. You're like, oh my god, what? He wasn't even doing anything. And all of a sudden, black is opening up on the F file. And this is a terrifying sight. Like, most people see this coming and they just panic. They don't know what to do. Me, I would. He takes on F5, bishop takes F5, Magnus activates some pieces, but he's got some weaknesses, duh, because he played like this. Of course he has weaknesses because he played like this. Now, bishop takes F5. Bishop H6, he takes the diagonal. Leon comes back, but now white also has a weakness. Now Magnus plays E5, a very, very big move, trying to gain space. He gets pushed back. Now look at Leon. Leon's playing this game very, very decently, but now Magnus plays A5. So immediately, everything that white is doing, black is trying to take advantage, and out of nowhere, Magnus doesn't even have a disadvantage anymore. It's 0.2. How did that happen? Now, the only way to prove anything here for white is to keep moving forward. You gotta keep moving forward. You gotta take, you gotta play d6, you gotta weaken this, right? Magnus takes and immediately activates his queen. He immediately activates his queen. The pawn on c5 is weak. White undevelops. White tries to bring these knights back as well. Magnus defends his knights. The knights dance out that way. Now it looks like Leon is making some good progress here. He is doing a lot of good, but here comes Magnus. Queen c4. Very close game. This is the best position that Leon has had so far. Queen d8 to queen b. Uh-oh. Rook a1. Yeah, this is a really... Wait a minute. Apparently there's knight takes h3. There's a sacrifice in this position. And if you take, black has knight h5 and queen g5 and the rook is coming in. Oh my goodness. But Magnus goes the other way. Magnus misses it and he's losing the pawn on b7. But he's going for counterplay against the king. Leon's up on time. This is his best opportunity the entire game. Look at Magnus's knights go. Rook a7 hitting. But black defends. And as quickly as his position was bad, his position suddenly comes alive. Leon has ran into a brick wall in the form of the light squared bishop. The pawn is 2 squares away from queening, but it's blocked. This is blocked. The knights can't actually do anything. And you know what is about to do everything? All these pieces. Here comes knight takes h3. Here comes queen e3 check. Black ravages the white position and delivers a checkmate. And that rook relinquished the defense of the bishop. If this was taken, it would be made on the next move for black. It would either be backwards and ladder mated. Here, there you might survive because your king would run out to g5, and king f6 would also lead to checkmate on e7. So, oh, he wins again. Oh, it was so close. Leon was so close. But Magnus's defense is too good. And he had him shook. You know how shook he had him? He won 4 games. Then Magnus again played a b3. This was a Sicilian. And here, you know, he played bishop b5. He developed. Everything was good. Magnus played d4. He had him shook. You know how I know he had him shook? He had Leon mouse slipping. Bishop d6. Magnus played knight d4, trying to create an attack. Rook c1, c4, maybe a3, b4, b5 ideas, taking with the queen, getting to a7, all this good stuff. And in this position, he played knight f5. Magnus took on c6. Obviously, black is playing queen c6. Leon played queen c7. And, yeah, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. He loses game number 5 like that. I mean, listen, sometimes you're shook. Sometimes you play in Magnus, you're losing half the games. Probably having a good time, though. I would imagine you are having a good time when you play Magnus. Now, Magnus would not stop. I mean, dude just kept firing away. And the thing is, I'm going to show you a few games where he actually played seriously, and it was wild. Like, watching Magnus goes from this goofy stuff to, like, the level difference is spectacular. And this is not a knock on Leon, because he's a very, very, very good player. I actually wonder, have I played Leon? Have I played Leon? I've never played Leon. So this is, I guess, some sort of new account. Maybe I played him on an old account, but I've never played Leon on Elsa. Why is his name Elsa, by the way? He likes Frozen. Why is 167? Is that like his rating? Anyway, Magnus once again goes for the exact same setup, this time defending over here, protecting the queen side, and then when white tries to instigate, he just plays the pawn forward, and so, okay, so you're not going to develop your knight to that square. Very normal game, right? Very solid game. Knight goes out to a5, putting some pressure right here. White trades the knight, because it's very annoying. Knight e4, and now we get a horseless game, all right? Nobody likes horses. Bishop d6, the position locks completely. And Leon must have just been thinking, look, I mean, if I get Magnus in a position like this, there's no way he can beat me, right? Look, just queens and bishops and a completely locked structure, and I control the only diagonal, and I will control the only open file. I can't lose. Watch how brutal it is to play against Magnus, even in the most dead position. Bishop c5 and queen d6. So he's just keeping the tension. He wants you to take so he could activate his queen. You're not going to take, right? Bishop c8. Okay. f3. Queen. Oh! Magnus making you take. No, you defend yourself. d6, takes, and now Magnus says no queen trade. Okay, it's a completely equal position. I mean, there is literally nothing to be done. White plays h4, Magnus plays king f8. Magnus doesn't like overcommitting his pawns. And now, ooh, look at that. He doesn't like overcommitting his pawns, but he's asking a few questions here, and he plays f4 check. Now, there is one thing brewing in this position that is hidden. I don't think you realize it. Do you realize what is the hidden element of this position? Yes, that is a question. Pay attention. What is the hidden element of this position? It is the fact that at the end, White has 6 pawns on light squares. Black has 6 pawns on dark squares. Maybe even 7. He'll maybe even put that one there as well in the future. Why is this important? If at any point this bishop manages to get in, at any moment, you know, might go off, take it. The game ends instantly, because all of White's pawns are on the wrong color. Magnus knows that. Magnus is playing for the endgame like 20 moves down the line when these guys get into a scramble. Now he offers a queen trade. Why does he offer a queen trade now? Because he has a better endgame chance, and because now his king can run, right? White goes bishop e5, but Magnus comes this way first. And then he comes all the way to h5, forcing g3, and now takes. And now g5, uh-oh. If take, black has a passed h-pawn. Out of nowhere, black has created a full pawn that will run down the board. And this is winning. Do you know why this is winning? Because after h5, bishop b5, black will play h4. Now, this pawn, it doesn't even have to go any further because I will just play king f4. But the real winning idea is in the future, h3, h2, and I deflect. Look, I play h3. Let's say you come here. I'll play h2. You defend me. I promote. I told you the pawns are on the wrong color. So, g5, bishop e8 check. And Leon falls asleep at the wheel. Bishop a6. Magnus plans ahead. And that is game over. And Leon just resigns. He just resigns. His bishop is now offside. Confirmed by VAR. And it's over. How Magnus finds a way to win this position with black is stupidity at the highest level. It's absurd. It's absurd. It's the smallest details. It's this like little f-pawn move, you know, and White doesn't feel comfortable splitting and ruining that defense, so he allows the pawn to come to f4. Now Magnus says, let's trade the queens. Let's trade the queens because my bishop, despite looking like it's doing nothing, is controlling very important squares. And then when I split these pawns up like this, g5 gives me winning chances. And that's the... Now, Magnus... And by the way, I will show you the one game at the end that Leon won, okay? So don't go anywhere. This is what happens when Magnus plays seriously, okay? Let me show you. I'm going to show you this game. This game, I'm going to actually analyze fully because it's a fascinating game. Magnus did not play stupid openings the entire time. In this game, he played the Catalan. He decided to play a real opening while mixing in goofy stuff because... If any of you have ever trained with like one-on-one with a coach, and the coach is kind of messing around playing at your level, and then they start playing at their level, oh, there's nothing spookier. All right, so bishop b4 and this line where black takes, and Magnus just gives away the pawn. This is very normal for the Catalan, for White to just give away the pawn here, try to win it back, but more so than winning it back, you just make black play very passively. Like, notice how Leon, he knows what he's doing, but he's got all these pawns here, he's got the bishop, and Magnus just focuses on the center, right? Knight e4, the knight's galloping into the position. Knight bd7, Magnus plays bishop e3. Look at this congestion, but there's almost no congestion at all. I mean, you're about to open up the center and completely destroy the black position. Knight takes e4, Magnus plays knight takes d7, Zwischenzug. A Zwischenzug, because you know this knight is not going anywhere. So an in-between move capture hits this, forces the king to move, queen e4, and now watch as Magnus slowly, methodically works the position to perfection. Queen a6, rook d1. Surely he's not going to go d5. He can't go d5. Because this is very well protected. But the king is here. Where are you going to go? If you play rook d8 with the intention of going this way, I'll cut you off. I'll cut you off before you get there. But let's not even, you know, like I can play a, b, queen b5, and now this is really softened up. And I'm going to just point my rooks at it. I also have queen g4 whenever I want. Who's going to guard the pawns? Right? Who's going to guard the pawns? So Leon plays this. He goes here. Now queen e5. Who's going to guard that? Who's going to guard that? The king? Yeah, but guess what? When this arrived here, now I play a, b. Now you can't take with the queen because after takes, you would lose your bishop. So he does this. Magnus trades. You know why? This. Game over. Game over. Computer doesn't even realize it. Game over. Bishop is open. Pawns are loose. Magnus is either going to win the entire queenside or checkmate his opponent. Rook e8. He takes. Doesn't matter. If you take rook e6, that move looks nice. But after here, 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 f6, White plays queen g7, king d8, and takes. Or takes. Both win, but taking the queen obviously wins faster. So fe6, and now rook d4. Wow, rook lift, double up because rook d7 is a threat too. Queen f4 check, queen g4, and the king mercilessly hunted. Apparently here was more winning to play bishop h6, which is kind of a scumbag cutting off the g file. But Magnus is a human and he's not an engine, and you know, he's allowed to win the way he wants, and he wins by taking a rook and getting his rook to the 7th rank and just going for those pawns. So he completely cuts off the pieces. He's going to win all of this, and black just resigns. Black could have played a few more moves. For example, bishop c5, queen a5 is a nice way for black to create counterplay, but Magnus wouldn't have blundered that. I mean, it's just fascinating, like the way he is able to win these games with real openings and goofy openings, just stacking the knights and the bishop in the center. Before black has an opportunity to get settled, knight e4, he forces the king out, and now it's just like slow, methodical, hitting the weaknesses, utilizing the diagonal, knowing that after this trade, black is going to surrender control of this d5 move because he's going to have to take away from the center like this, and now d5 is very, very important. If ed5, you never trade the queens here. Never, 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 never. All right? You never, ever, ever trade the queens here. But despite winning 11 games in a row, at some point, Leon won as well. And watch as the young man from Croatia did get a win over Magnus Carlsen. Something that none of you ever have. But having said that, none of you have ever lost 18 games to Magnus, so you're actually maybe even stronger than Leon. That's a joke. Magnus played the hillbilly attack. This is a real, yeah, it's called the hillbilly attack. Some of you have probably been playing bishop c4 against the Caro-Kann. It's only the hillbilly attack if you play here. If you take on d5, it's technically the hillbilly attack, but it's just stupid. It's just an exchange Caro-Kann. So the hillbilly attack against the Caro-Kann gambits the e4 pawn, completely gambits it, just like Magnus has been doing the entire time. Queen h5, threatens mate, and black plays here. Magnus plays queen h4 and gets the following position. Now, white is, at very, very, very best case scenario, white is equal. And what white wants to do here is play knight c3 and take on e4. And then he wants to play f3, take, Gambit style. Excellent opening for beginners and intermediates. Slightly less good for advanced players, but again, advanced chess players are like 1800, 2000. They like spend a lot of money on opening courses. They use Chessable, they use opening books, and they think they're above the law. Like 2000s think they're really good. 2000s don't know anything about chess. All right. I'm an international master, and compared to guys like this, I know nothing about chess. Okay, so there are levels to this thing. And even if you're 2000, I guarantee if you study the hillbilly attack, you're gonna go beat people. So actually a pretty venomous opening. White just does this. And I mean, black's advantage is minus 0.3, 0.4, but good luck playing this position. This is not an easy position to play. White is gonna go here, long castle, put the rooks on these files, and just go for an attack. Leon plays knight bd7, and Magnus plays bishop h6. I mean, he's already, like, does it feel like white is down a pawn? Not really. I mean, you're really going to tell me that black's C and G pawns are making any sort of impression? I would disagree, right? So Leon plays queen a5, and now is, you know, Magnus can already begin attacking. You know, I really like long castle here, but I guess for whatever reason, Magnus didn't like queen h5. I think Magnus didn't want a queen trade, so instead of allowing that, he plays knight to g5, which is a very natural move. And then queen e5 check. His idea was to block like this, gambiting the pawn on b2. Bishop h6, queen h6, black plays e6, blocking out white's light squared bishop, and actually Magnus already has a good chance here with d4, but instead he gambits another pawn. So he's 2 pawns down, but if he had played king d2 in his position, apparently he's winning. He is 2 pawns down, but he's winning. Because he has 1, 2, 3, 4 attacking pieces, maybe 5, and maybe 6. He's about to get the rook. I mean, not right away, but, you know, because he'd lose it, but... So he plays rook d1, which is also fine, and then his opponent accidentally allows the queen, not accidentally maybe, to be blocked out. And he tries to bring the queen back. Now Magnus plays knight takes f7, which is apparently the move that was even winning in this position, knight f7, because after king f7, queen h7, white can just play like g4, g5. And there's a line here, G4, Queen A3, G5, allowing your pawn to be captured, and then here, and then you double and play knight E4, and white's just completely winning, which is wild. So you may wonder how Magnus actually lost this game, right? Because he sacrificed. Look at this. It's a draw. It's a draw. It's a draw by repetition. Now, he's not going to make a draw because he's playing for content. So he takes on G6. Still has good attacking chances. The best thing for black to do here is to run his king away. He brings the queen back, which is also very natural. But now knight F4. Queen to G7, offering a queen trade. White should just retreat, reinforce, and come back with a big attack. But Magnus Carlsen is human. And sometimes even the best human in the world makes a blunder. And in this position, Magnus thought he's going to take on E6, rook E6. He's going to take check, and then take the rook. And then he would be potentially winning the endgame. So he did that. But he forgot that after rook E6, it's check. So he hung his queen. His queen just dies. And he played a few more moves, you know, just in case, because he is Magnus Carlsen at the end of the day. But it doesn't matter if you're Magnus Carlsen or Carlos Magnussen. He lost. So he hung his queen from an equal position because he thought he was winning an exchange. Hilarious. Now, the position that he wanted was supposed to look like this, at which point, you know, he is playing this endgame potentially for a win because he has more pawns. Instead of that, he hung his queen. That was the only game that Leon managed to win. Magnus went on to win like 7 more games, and then he logged off. Ridiculous. Just very, very, very funny stuff. And, well, Magnus defeats Leon Levich from Croatia by the score of 18-1-1. They made one draw, and Magnus is trying to be 33-35. The highest ever blitz rating achieved on chess.com is 3,334, which was achieved like 2 days ago by Hikaru. And Magnus is now chasing that as well. It's the most incredible passive-aggressive battle because they won't play each other. It's like in tennis, they score tour points, but they will never play head-to-head. They're just beating everybody else to get to the very top. It's hilarious. Hope you enjoyed just yet another piece of Magnus content of him just absolutely demolishing players from all over the world. Shout out to Leon for being a good sport, playing on and not minding the result. Because I cannot lose this many games to a better player and like not try to break my computer. So you know, I'm a bad loser. So that, yeah, you know. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Get out of here.